Hey everybody, Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel. My video today is basically called How Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, and other cruise lines could go bankrupt before the CDC allows them to cruise in U.S. waters again. This is one heck of a topic. Thank you, by the way, all of you who are subscribing to my channel, giving my videos thumbs ups, leaving me comments. Really appreciate that. Thank you for joining my Facebook group page. If you'd like to hang out between videos with a whole bunch of cruise addicts, head over to the Traveling with Bruce Facebook group page. And also thank you for popping into my Instagram page as well. Those of you who have become sponsor members of Traveling with Bruce, a special thank you from me to you. Join today and you can hang out with me Monday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, for the sponsor member hangout show. Just before the big live show, 8 o'clock every Monday night. You get to use special emojis. I make special videos just for sponsor members. Thank you, all of you, for your support of this channel. Well, the news in the last couple of days now has been swirling a little bit about this 28-question questionnaire, I guess, that the CDC has put out. Apparently, it seems that the CDC would like the input of cruisers by having them answer 28 particular questions that they've put together on a form. Apparently it's available through the CDC website. I took a look at the questions this morning, and I noticed that a lot of these questions from the folks at the CDC aren't actually, well, they're certainly not yes or no questions, I'll tell you that. They have a lot of subparts to them. So you'll have a question, and then you'll have like question. There's a part A to the question, a part B, a part C. I added up over 60 basic questions that were in this form, and in some of the actual questions there were multi-part answers, and so I think they're looking for like upwards of 100 to 120 actual answers. And I got to tell you, for a lot of these questions, you've got to have a doctorate, you got to be a medical doctor to understand what they're asking and to really be able to address these questions. And having read through them a little further, it's pretty obvious to this guy, and I'm just a layman on the outside. I mean, I love cruising, but I'm not a doctor. But I'm looking at these questions, I'm saying to myself, it looks to me like the CDC doesn't want these guys cruising at all. And I thought there wouldn't be cruising for sure in 2020. And it looks like I'm going to be right. We're now in late July, and the cruise lines won't cruise until the end of September at the absolute earliest. And I think it'll go past that. But with these CDC questions, if they get 1,000 people or 5,000 or 10,000 people responding, it'll take them months to go through these answers, come up with some kind of an opinion. Whether they accept the answers or not as the way to go forward is another matter entirely. I just don't see cruising through 2021 and possibly into 2022. And this begs the question that I have with the cruise lines, just the three publicly traded cruise lines, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, burning $1.1 billion a month not to be in business. If they're not going to be in business for another 18 to 20 months, where are they coming up with $20+ billion to hang around? I know that they have money in the bank now. Collectively, they probably have 8, maybe 10 billion. So they're good for 6, 8, 10, 12 months maybe, but they're not good for 2 years. And here's the other issue here. The kind of questions being asked in this questionnaire basically ask the public, how thorough should cruise lines handle testing of this virus if we allow them to cruise? How much money really should the cruise lines dedicate to medical facilities, onboard medical facilities, onboard tests? I read over several questions when I kind of parsed it out. I came out with questions about testing. The CDC is suggesting that through the questioning anyway, they're suggesting there should be pre-cruising testing. Like when you book your cruise a week before you go, you should get tested. Pre-boarding testing, on board the ship testing, pre and post onshore stop testing, disembarkation testing, and follow-up after the cruise is over, like a week or two when you get home. Follow-up testing, all paid for by the cruise lines, all administered by trained staff approved by the CDC that the cruise lines will have to pay for. You think about a cruise ship with, say, an Oasis-class ship that Royal Caribbean has, so the Harmony of the Seas, for example, maximum capacity, almost 6,000 passengers. Even if they limit the ship, they limited it to 3,000 passengers and maybe 1,500 crew, something like that. Talking about 4,500 people. 4,500 tests before the cruise, once on the ship, during the cruise, disembarkation. I mean, what are we talking? 5 tests here over 2 or 3 weeks per individual? That's 22,500 tests for a 1-week cruise. I'm just assuming it's a 1-week cruise. I'm not saying it has to be, but think about that. Doesn't matter where the ship's going. Even if the ship is leaving Miami and going to Coco Key, couple of sea days, a sea day before Coco Key, a sea day, Coco Key again, and then back to Miami. 22,500, 25,000 tests, $10 a test, roughly. That's a bargain, by the way. That's $250,000. What if, and these questions are going on about what if passengers get the virus while on the ship? Now, they may have had the virus, when they were on the plane in St. Louis the week before. How do we know? May have had the virus before they left our house, but they're on the ship and they've been detected. The CDC is basically suggesting there should be medical wings set up to handle people who get the infection, whether it's crew or passengers. And then they're talking about, in these questions, they're asking stuff like, what kind of arrangements should the cruise lines make with foreign countries so that when they pull into port, they have, a couple of cases of the virus, that they've made arrangements for these people to either be hospitalized at cruise line expense or to be housed in a 14-day quarantine at cruise ship expense, and then these people to be repatriated back from where they came from at cruise line expense. I don't see how any cruise line anywhere will ever be able to work this out with the CDC. I've done videos in the past where I have talked about people spraining their ankles or getting needing an appendicitis operation, emergency scenario, where they're in Mexico and they come into a hospital because the cruise line has kicked them off the ship. They're unfit to sail. The hospital wants $2,500 cash up front as a deposit before they even look at you. And if you haven't got insurance, you're going to need $10,000-15,000 for a 1-week stay. How can cruise lines possibly take on a blank check scenario where up to 3,000 passengers, 1,500 crew, any one of those people could catch the virus in that one magical week that they're all together? How can they possibly play that? There's no insurance to be able to get. No insurance company will cover you during a pandemic. I really wonder if cruise lines in any way, shape, or form without a vaccine proven and effective will be able to sail in U.S. waters again. I really wonder about this, and it begs the question, can the 3 big publicly traded cruise lines that we're able to follow financially because they have to report their financials to the SEC, have these guys got enough cash to handle a prolonged, much more prolonged downturn than we had previously thought? No one thought back in March when the cruise lines shut down voluntarily that it would be more than a month or 2. People thought by April or May it'll all be over, the warm weather's coming, everything will be great. Here we are at the end of July. We know we're not sailing now until basically October, and even that is suspect because more and more people every day are getting cancellation notifications that their sailings are canceled. Who would have thought that this could go not for 6 months or 8 months, but for perhaps 2 years? I don't know who's still going to be around and what brand names we're going to still be able to cruise on. Anyway, those are my thoughts today. This 28-question questionnaire, that's a doozy. A lot of difficult questions being asked. Thank you again, all of you, for following my channel. Those of you who are subscribing, thank you very much for your faith in my channel. Also, your thumbs ups. Appreciate it. Love your comments. And again, those of you who have become sponsor members of Traveling with Bruce, welcome you with open arms. And I invite you to join me Monday nights, 7 o'clock for the sponsor member hangout show. And also, those of you who have gone to the Redbubble store, with the links are down below, by the way, for that sponsor member club and also the Redbubble store. The links are down below. Pick yourself up a TWB souvenir item, maybe a t-shirt or a coffee mug or a COVID mask. Every item that sells on Redbubble, a royalty comes to me for that, and it helps support the channel. I want to thank you all very, very much. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.